So on Twitter today, I asked a good question for everybody. Does anybody have a video suggestion? And someone brought up a good idea. Hey, how about alternate history videos? I thought about it for a second, but then I realized this is a good idea. An alternate history videos as filler videos until we get actual news about the court rulings in Pennsylvania. Because if you don't know, today is the first day of the actual court hearings in the state of Pennsylvania. We haven't had actual court hearings from the Trump campaign. So, for now, I'm starting a mini-series on this channel. It is alternate history series, I guess, right? I think I made a video on this earlier, but I decided, you know what, I want to take a step back and start a mini-series of 3 to 4 parts. And it starts in the year 2008. And it's what if Mike Huckabee won the nomination in 2008 instead of John McCain. The Republican Party would be completely different, right? And a lot would change, but we gotta go year by year. 2008, I'll make a 2010 video probably, 2012, 2014, etc. So, a lot would change with Huckabee. But remember, the economic recession / crash would still happen, right? No matter what. But I want to compare what the maps would look like between McCain and Huckabee. So what are the differences between McCain and Huckabee? Well, let's check John McCain on the issues. On the issues is a pretty good thing that kind of compiles candidates' opinions on political things. It compiles into this chart right here and determines what they are. And John McCain is a libertarian conservative. Pretty much rhinoism / neoconservatism. Libertarian conservative, that's pretty much what it is. And it did not end up well. On the other hand, Mike Huckabee is a populist-leaning conservative. That's a big difference, alright? And Huckabee did pretty good in 2008. But, of course, McCain won the nomination. But you notice these differences. You see how Mike Huckabee's way more populist, right, than John McCain. And he's a bit more right-wing on some economic issues. He's a bit more socially conservative, etc. So that's interesting, alright? But we gotta get into the video. So, what was the map in 2008? Well, it was this. It was a complete nightmare for the Republicans. And you check from the voting shifts between 2008 and 2004, it's not pretty. It is just not pretty whatsoever. I mean, the only places McCain improved on was Appalachia, Arkansas, Tennessee, and, well, parts of Texas and Arizona. The rest of the country, he did significantly worse than Bush. And it's just hilarious that they thought that John McCain was the future Republican Party and neoconservative was going to work. Well, as you can tell, it did not end up pretty whatsoever for the Republicans. Now again, in this scenario, I highly doubt Huckabee would win. But I want to take a look at what would have happened if Huckabee was a nominee. So as you could tell, McCain really only did best in Appalachia and, well, this part of the South. And a bit of the Panhandle. Where would Huckabee improve in? Well, pretty much everywhere he would do better than McCain, right? In particular, this part of the country right here. Now, that may seem like a stretch, but McCain was just unpopular in this part of the nation. And Huckabee, while not full on like Trump populist, would do significantly better in this part of the nation. So let's begin the map. The safe states for Obama is Hawaii, California, Oregon, Washington, New Mexico. Though it would be a little bit closer, Obama would still win by at least 12. Illinois, his home state, Minnesota, another state that would be a little bit closer, it would still just be barely safe. The Northeast and the great state of New York. So this is the safe Democrat states. For Huckabee, his safe states would be the following: Alaska, Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, the Dakotas. Though they were within 10 last time in 2008, Huckabee would do significantly better. It was just Huckabee's campaign would be ran significantly better than McCain's. Anybody's campaign was better than McCain's. It was a terrible campaign. All of Nebraska, except of course Nebraska's second. Whoops, not Nebraska's second. Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas would be safe. It would be a little bit closer, but he would still win it by at least 11. Arkansas, the Deep South, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, South Carolina. So this is the safe Republican states. Republicans are already at a big disadvantage, but it does get a little bit better for them in this scenario. So let's start coast to coast for the likely states. For the likely Democrat states, Nevada, Colorado, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania would all be the likely states. Alright? Now, it's already pretty much game over for Huckabee. But you look at these 4 states, or 5 states, Huckabee would do significantly better in Nevada, Colorado, right? Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. I do think that in Wisconsin he would do a lot better in the rural part of the state. And in Michigan, more the northern part of the Upper Peninsula, he would do significantly better, etc., etc. So really, it's already a big improvement. It wouldn't have been such a clobbering like it was in real life. It would still be bad for the Republicans, but it wouldn't be a complete disaster, right? As for the likely Republican states, it would be Arizona, Georgia, and this is a tough one. State of Missouri, not likely. I was kidding, right? But this is the likely Republican states. Already significantly better in Georgia, right? That's a big sign. For the lean states, Montana, Missouri would be lean in the scenario. It's just McCain was useless in Missouri. Indiana, I think that would be lean Republican. Those are the states where McCain would do significantly worse than Huckabee would. And that's all the lean Republican states. As for the lean Democrat states, Iowa, New Hampshire, and probably state of Virginia. The reason that I have Iowa's lean is Iowa was one of those states where Huckabee did pretty good in the Iowa caucus, and I do think he would do a lot better than McCain, probably by 6 percentage points. He would still lose it by at least 4, but it would still be within a lean margin. Now, for the tilt states, North Carolina will be tilt Republican, and Ohio and Florida would be tilt. Now, the reason that I have Ohio and Florida as tilt is because Ohio, I think that's way too big of a margin to overcome. Florida, same deal, right? But he would do a lot better in those 2 states. In North Carolina, it just, McCain was useless. That's all it comes down to. McCain was a completely just awful campaigner. And Nebraska's second, I still think Obama would win it, just because it's Obama. So this is what the 2008 map would look like if Huckabee, not McCain, was a nominee. Alright? It's still pretty bad for the Republicans, but it's not the worst, alright? Compared to this map, they already won North Carolina and Indiana, alright? And this sets them up for a possible comeback in 2012. But we'll get to that. So this is the prediction. Things do change significantly. The Republicans realize, okay, we had an economic recession. We ran against one of the most energizing candidates ever, and we still got almost 200 electoral votes, and we didn't completely get clobbered. Like, we were only Ohio and Florida away from being completely competitive. And I do believe the Republicans would realize they can't go down the route of John McCainism or Mitt Romneyism. And they have to realize, okay, we got to keep going the route of someone like Mike Huckabee. Be a bit more populist on economic issues, but be super socially conservative. So yes, this is the prediction map. It changes significantly, right? We're going to be making a 2010 video in the soon. And yes, hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, hit the like button down below. Subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, and yes, everything has completely changed with this election, right? Especially with Mike Huckabee being the nominee. He would do a lot better, and it wouldn't have been such a disaster for the Republicans. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye. And before I forget, you should hit that join button down below, as you get a shout out at the end of the video if you, pick the correct role, alright? I gotta give a big thank you to Joshua Perez and Spiffy Diameter for being members, and yes, see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.